Put a smile on your face when you're moving from.
Viewers, welcome back this morning to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We are chatting this morning with Mr. Bradon Roberts, the Tutor Tobago Tobago officer, which I know, along with him this morning, the district field officer for tutor, Mr. Steve Peterkin. And this morning, viewers, our focus is on S.E.A. Is there an alternative, among some other issues? Gentlemen, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Always a pleasure to be on the program.
It's good to have you with us. Now, S.E.A. 2023 is over. Very quickly, your thoughts on what you saw for Tobago, some of the feedback that you would have gotten from parents, teachers, concerns.
Well, I believe I would want to make way to Mr. Peterkin because I would have stepped back from even the conversation because my take on S.E.A., and it's a good topic, the alternative. We need to move away from it because I heard the way in which you exhaled. Why are we having such pressure on all stakeholders? Because the students, the parents, the teachers, the grandparents are all feeling pressured. So, in terms of how the feel was on the particular day, I would leave that to Mr. Peterkin, who would have had a class sitting this year.
Okay, Mr. Peterkin.
Thank you and good morning to everyone. Good morning to all the viewers. So S.E.A. is the culmination of a whole 7-year preparation. Because all the curriculum aspects.
I like how you said that it's 7 years of preparation for S.E.A., not standard 4 and standard 5.
That's correct.
Right.
That's correct. So parts of the curriculum would have started being built from first year, second year, and people don't understand that, but it's stacked. The topics are stacked and they're layered. So and then you get to standard 4 and you make sure you cover the curriculum. But after that, you have to now prepare students to understand how questions are asked. And with that, you have a certain amount of practice papers and stuff that people do to get students accustomed to the way that questions are asked. And it becomes stressful because we have a wide section of the curriculum, but only a small aspect could be tested, and we don't know, we're not sure. So we're preparing for all of these, but there's only this amount that's coming. And well, you know, people are concerned about the time frame as well. You know, so they have extra classes to maximize the time, and Saturdays and Sundays and evenings, and it's a whole stack of pressure. It's a lot.
Pressure on
everyone. The list goes from pupils and their families, not just parents, their families, their siblings as well, to the teachers, to the grandparents, to the entire education system, even I would dare say the country, because there seems to be a fascination about S.E.A. in our country. S.E.A. and S.E.A. results. We had a joke some time back, say, if a murder is committed on S.E.A. results day, that murder is pushed to the 3rd story, and S.E.A. becomes the 1st story of the day. Yeah. So there's this fascination with the exam, with students and their performance, and even, dare I say, the schools that they're placed at.
The press, talk about the pressure to perform, pressure for students to perform, pressure for the teachers to perform at their maximum, which we're not saying it's a bad thing. A pressure for the principals who put teachers under pressure to perform because you want to be named amongst the top. And let me just bring this into the discussion this morning. After the legal challenge to the ministry, maybe 1 or 2 years ago, S.E.A. top students are no longer being announced by the ministry. What is tutors' perspective with this change? Is it working for us, or has an opportunity now been given or now been lost to publicly recognize our top performing students? Mr. Roberts, Mr. Peterkin.
Right. So the pressure on S.E.A., we bring it upon ourselves, right? Really and truly. Students, parents, teachers. And the pressure is mainly due to the fact that all our secondary schools are not fully outfitted in terms of the resources, the program that they're supposed to be offering. So there are specific schools that we all fight for.
Right.
So when you put Bishops or Scarborough Sec or Signal Hill or whichever school you put as your first choice, and you don't get that first choice, you feel like you would have failed. So that pressure of, I need to pass. Now, I went to my former school to do a pep talk with the students. So I asked, what is the reason for S.E.A? What do you all believe is the purpose of doing S.E.A? And one student said, to see if you qualify for secondary school. So that's the mindset that they're going with. They want to know if they qualify. Now, S.E.A is secondary entrance assessment. So the purpose of S.E.A is to assess students as to where they are, see which secondary school would be best fitting for them to move forward, or if they need to stay back in primary school for an additional year. It's an assessment, but it's used as a pass or fail tool where students feel the need to either impress their mommy or impress their daddy. They don't even know the purpose of education. So if I could just go further into the purpose of education, school should be preparing students for a wide range of opportunities, which is the speech I gave to the students. When the less you focus on your schoolwork, you are minusing your opportunities, you are reducing your opportunities. So the homework and the extra reading even on a weekend is to ensure that your opportunities remain broad. However, it is school and S.E.A is being used, and you mentioned the rating. It's more of a rank. So which school came top in Tobago, or which student came top in Trinidad? We need to follow these students, when they reach S.E.A, how are they doing? Because you have a number of persons who come in the top 10 in Trinidad and Tobago for several years. Are they becoming scholarship winners beyond S.E.A? What is the performance there? And I'm grateful that the minister moved away from ranking students, or putting out the rankings, on the ranking schools, because we tend to tarnish the schools that don't do well. And there are different circumstances why a class may not do well. We tend to rush to the school. So the year that Signal Hill got a top student, everybody wants to send a child to Signal Hill Primary School.
And just allow me to say good morning, Signal Hill Government Primary. Go ahead.
Yes. So the focus is not on educating. Now, Mr. Peterkin just explained what the 7-year program is supposed to be.
Right.
But we cut off what a lot of the curriculum by standard 3 into standard 4 because we're going to drill them students to S.E.A. So education not taking place the way in which it's supposed to take place because we have a high stakes exam.
Oh, sorry. No, you wanted us to focus mainly on that alternative to S.E.A. And I have to say here, in my time, so S.E.A, what we see as S.E.A now would have started off just a few years ago when I was younger as common entrance. So we had common entrance, and then during the Kamala Prasad Bissessa-led administration a few years ago, we saw that there was an introduction to a new phase, a new scheme of S.E.A prep, and now we have S.E.A, which concentrates really on the assessment, which concentrates on three subjects, three components. Yes?
So the L.E.A writing, the mathematics, and the L.E.A language arts, which encompass grammar, vocabulary, comprehension, that area. Now,
the alternative, let's talk what we saw being delivered or handed to us during the Kamala Prasad Bissessa-led administration. How would that work in today's sphere? If we look at moving away from what we see, what we know now as S.E.A, what we have now as the S.E.A product, could that work now? Was it before its time? Should we forget it entirely, move into something new? Your thoughts?
So I'll give a quick take and then I'll allow Mr. Peterkin. What happened with the continuous assessment that they would have brought on in that Kamala-led period? As with many other initiatives from the Ministry of Education, they have their idea and they roll it out. They don't have stakeholder engagement where we have a proper understanding as to the role of each person. Now, we changed the name from common entrance to secondary entrance assessment to have a softer feel to it, but they're using it the same way.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter what tool you bring. So we're talking about the alternative. It doesn't matter what we bring. It's how we use it. So if we don't address secondary schools and what we offer them, let's say Martin secondary schools still don't have a science lab. It would be going on probably 6 years that they lab down. So if we have to fight for specific schools, it does not matter what tool you bring. They're going to utilize it in the same way. The continuous assessment that they brought it was a little chaotic because we were learning while implementing it.
Right.
And
so there was no time to prepare. It was just hit the ground running.
Yes, and they were challenging the integrity of the scores because, of course, it is within the remit of the teacher and it's the student. So, top scores going in. Do we have a proper assessment as to the quality of the learning and the quality of the skills of the particular child to see which secondary school would best fit this child? We still didn't have that. So we had additional things to be done. It's taken away from the curriculum because they still have the broad curriculum to teach. And you have these things like drawing a leaf. You're trying to figure out how does that fit into preparing for the S.E.A, because those are some of the aspects, the arts and so on, that we had to do. So I'm going to take out what Mr. Peterkin also give his take, but it doesn't matter the tool, it's how we use it. Yeah.
All right.
So as Mr. Roberts would have said, it's what we use S.E.A to do. And in a simplistic manner, we use S.E.A to group students based on their scores. That's what we do. So a particular school gets a particular group of students who would have scored a particular score.
That's right, or above.
Right. And what's the alternative or the flip side to that? There's a school that does not get students that score a particular score. So there are schools that would receive 75 students, and none of those 75 students would have scored above 30% in mathematics. None, not one of them. All of them are sent to one school. So, and those students are still required to write CXE in the same 5 years and perform as expected with the other schools.
Go ahead, sir.
So the alternative is, instead of grouping students by their scores, how about grouping students by their, and I like to start from the highest possibilities, and then we could come down and see what would work.
Right.
How about grouping students by their interests? So let's rename Roxborough Secondary to Roxborough Tech, and it deals with metalwork, woodwork, technical drawing. Let's rename Bishops into Bishops Modern Studies and Business. Let's rename Compre into Arts and Creative Sciences. And we have students now thinking of schools not by what score I make, but what my interests would be like.
Where I'm heading. Yeah, what my goals are.
And now we have also an opportunity not just to shape students now, but to shape our economy. Because if we know that our economy is heading in a particular way, we can focus schools into that direction. We know that we want tourism and we want to boost our tourism. We know that we have oil in Tobago water, so we want to boost our petrochemical field. We can start from our secondary schools and lead our students into learning that way. And you would see corporate Trinidad and Tobago jump on those opportunities to ensure that they adopt schools and train schools and support schools so that in the future, the same companies would have skilled personnel to pull from because they know that these schools are providing these skilled students.
This is unheard of. This is moving away from the model of education that we've known, we've grown with, we've grown accustomed to. This is...
It's not, eh?
It's not?
No, they did a paper on this several years back. But
in Trinidad and Tobago?
In Trinidad and Tobago, but it was rejected. They did not believe that they should start segregating in that manner that early. The belief was that each child should get the opportunity at whichever school.
But is it working? I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but is it working?
So it is not working. What we're doing now is not working.
Mm-hmm.
What we have in Trinidad and Tobago is, if we have an idea and we don't like it, we throw it away. We could refine it. You know, we could adjust, take the ideas. That's the purpose of consultation. We don't get meaningful consultation in Trinidad and Tobago.
Let me just share a little bit what's happening on the live. Nadine Nichols, who is the a preschool owner out of Patience, Tobago, says, good idea, Sir Peterkin. Julia Brown says, this guy is so right. S.E.A is frustrating. Brightness does not make you qualified for secondary school. I knew of people who was not bright in class and they went to secondary school. And I had classmates who were bright, like Morning Star, and never passed common entrance.
Correct.
Is it the pressure? That's the pressure of the day.
That's the pressure,
Yeah.
All right, so back to you this morning here, Mr. Roberts, with regards to that paper and the tailoring, modifying to accommodate the direction in which we're heading. You were saying.
Right. Now, when the secretary spoke about the Tobago-centric curriculum, I believe she gets tired of me repeating it. But I got excited about it, you know, because that is similar to what was just explained. So you don't have to make Signal Hill School the science school, but you can have the flavor where the math teacher tailoring the math sums towards the science topics. If you have tourism, I went to a graduation with Goodwood Secondary. I want to give the principal there some kudos. I went there and the students did hospitality. So by the time I came up my vehicle, hearing the whispers, like Mr. Robert, some tutor and so on, they know which seat I'm going by, who I'm sitting on next to. We talk about customer service in Tobago. And they were training those students. So let's say we have certain secondary schools with a particular flavor. That's what the secretary would have explained based on what I heard in terms of a Tobago-centric, based on our needs. You flavor some of the schools. So you don't have to make bishops business only. But the language, even in the maths and the PE, you kind of give a business aspect to it. So at least children will get more than just the content. They will get the context and application and see, even if I don't do good in maths, the things I did in school with maths, I'm able to transfer that to the mechanics and whatever else I am to do. But we are too rigid to the topics that we need to cover before the term finish.
The syllabus must be covered.
Yes. And but the same parents would say,
at any cost.
The same parents would say, these topics teachers don't teach. So we had to try to push some of these topics as best as possible while balancing effective learning.
Yeah.
So you wanted to add to that?
You see, at the end of the day, we don't want to create students that all they could do is pass S.E.A. You want students to fall in love with learning, and that's about it. So if we continue to rank teachers, schools, rank students, and all they see is that I need to be ranked. I need to be first, second, and third.
Yes, I need to be top.
I need to be ranked. I tell my students, I say, listen, we have enough A's for everybody, right? So you move away from first, second, third, fourth, because there's only one first, there's only one second, right? But A's are for everybody. And you move them into an aspect where they fall in love with learning and they understand how they learn. And then you can see these students going through society contributing. When they get to secondary school, they're head in the debate team, they formulate community groups, and because they understand and they appreciate it's not just about me doing S.E.A. and what I could do, but it's about me contributing. It's about me being part of society. It's about me being a useful member of society. And once we get children to think like that, think of themselves like that, and then you would see people going further. And because they fall in love with learning, they would learn further. They would go secondary, tertiary. They would continue because they have fallen in love with learning.
All right, gentlemen, we've got to wrap it up here. We've certainly got to wrap it up here. But very quickly, how then do we drive that discussion?
Right, so the conversation been existing for a very long time, but if you don't, as I said, if you don't fix the secondary schools, no matter what we do, we're going to fight for specific schools. So we need to start by addressing the shortcomings of all of our secondary schools, where it doesn't matter which school you go to, you're going to get quality education based on the resources. Teachers are trying their best with very little. They spend a lot of their funds to help the system work, especially those students who would have been doing these sciences at Signal Hill. It's alternative things that have been using to get the experience to be able to complete the syllabus and so forth. So, and the SBAs and so forth, sorry. So if you don't address those shortcomings, there's still always going to be this fight for specific schools and the pressure to do well, because you believe if you don't go to a particular school, you let down your family or you let down. Yeah. So we need to adjust that.
All right, I'm wrapping things up here, but a viewer on the live says, who are these guys? And where were they all this time? Great thoughts. This is wonderful. A skilled trade is perfect for kids who are not cut out for books. Youths are graduating and can't get the job they want, but we always need skilled trade persons.
And if I could just quickly jump in,
yeah.
A skilled trade is also needed for persons who are good at books, eh?
Yeah.
So we don't want to say, one, it's if you're not good in school book, then you do trade. No, it's balance the both.
That's right. Marry the both, all right? You'll be top game, marry the both. All right, my director's looking at me. It's time for us to wrap things up here. But Bradon Roberts and Steve Peterkin, thank you so much for being on the program with us today. Loving the discussion. What Julia Brown says, I'm loving what I'm hearing. Great topic this morning. Laverne Price says, great topic this morning. Very quickly, how do you deal with the students that don't know what they want in the module you spoke about? And that's the final question.
So of course, each school would still do the core.
Yeah.
Each school would still do the core. And as much as it would be new to us, remember, systems like this do exist. We fashion ourselves from many things from the American system. Why don't we fashion this? You know, there are systems like this. There, High School Musical, the movie. It's a secondary school that does music, right?
Yeah.
So there are systems that exist, and we can take the best of all, pull them together, and make something great.
Yes. Bradon, you wanted to say something very quickly.
No, well, that's why we indicated it could be a flavor of it.
Yeah,
not because an idea, you meet a question like this, you put it down.
Yeah.
You flesh it out with consultation, but I know that time is up, so let me battle it here.
Yeah, my director's there.
They're going to put us out soon.
Thank you so much. It was a wonderful discussion with you gentlemen this morning, and it's a discussion that's needed to continue. It must happen because I'm looking at the direction Tobago is going in, and we've got to have an educational model that suits our Tobago picnic. At the end of the day, just saying. All right? But thank you again, gentlemen. There was lots more coming up on the program. Coming up just after the break this morning, we will be chatting with my good friend, Ria Paria, and it's all about World Autism Day 2023. So viewers, share the live, share the live, share the live.